Someone has been watching you for longer than you realize. And what they have been watching is not just you, it is everything you carry that you have probably learned to downplay in front of most people. That is exactly how this energy opened for me today, Virgo. And I want to be honest with you about the scale of what came through, because Spirit was not subtle about it. This is not a small crush. This is not surface level admiration that fades after a few interactions. Someone has watched your gifts in action, the actual, real, tangible ways you move through the world with skill and depth that most people simply do not carry, and what they feel as a result of witnessing this goes deeper than even they have fully allowed themselves to acknowledge. Listen carefully, because I want to walk you through every layer of what Spirit shared today. Let me describe what I felt the moment this energy opened, because the very first impression carries a real signal about the magnitude of what we are examining. I felt intensity immediately, the specific, concentrated quality of feeling that has been building steadily rather than arriving suddenly. This is not the energy of infatuation formed in a single encounter. This is the energy of someone whose admiration has accumulated layer upon layer through repeated observation of you doing what you naturally do, the gifts you carry that have likely become so ordinary to you that you barely notice them anymore. I also felt a quality of helplessness present in this energy, the specific sensation of someone who has tried, perhaps unsuccessfully, to maintain a more casual, manageable level of interest, only to find that the depth of what they feel continues exceeding whatever boundaries they attempted to place around it. I want to talk about what gifts Spirit is actually referring to here, because I think specificity matters more than vague flattery. I am sensing your mind first, the particular way you think, the depth and precision with which you approach problems that other people often handle more superficially. This is not simply intelligence in the generic sense. This is the specific Virgo quality of seeing details others miss, of understanding situations more fully than most people bother to, of bringing a level of care and thoroughness to whatever you commit yourself to that genuinely sets you apart. I am also sensing your capacity for genuine creation, whether that shows up through your work, through something artistic, through the way you solve problems for people in your life, or through the specific way you build and maintain order and beauty in your own environment. Whatever form this takes specifically for you, I am sensing this person has witnessed it directly, has seen you actually create something meaningful through your own skill and effort, and has been genuinely moved by what they witnessed. I want to expand on these gifts further, because I think the specificity genuinely matters here. I am also sensing your capacity for genuine follow through, the way you do not simply have good ideas, but actually execute them with consistency and care. This is rarer than people sometimes assume. The combination of having a sharp, capable mind alongside the discipline to actually bring ideas into tangible reality. This person has likely witnessed both dimensions of you, the conceptual brilliance and the practical execution, and the combination of these two qualities together is part of what makes their admiration so substantial rather than fleeting. I also want to address your capacity for genuine care toward others as one of your gifts, because I am sensing this person has noticed it specifically. The way you remember details about people's lives, the way you show up practically for people who matter to you, the specific quality of attention you bring to relationships that goes beyond surface pleasantries into genuine, sustained investment. This gift, combined with your intellectual and creative capacities, produces someone who is genuinely rare, capable of both excellence and warmth simultaneously, and this person has registered exactly how uncommon that combination actually is. Let me speak to the specific moment or series of moments where this person's admiration shifted from casual to something deeper, because I think understanding this transition matters. I am sensing there was a particular instance where you did something, perhaps something you considered entirely ordinary, that landed in this person with unexpected weight. Maybe you solved a problem effortlessly that had stumped others. Maybe you created something, whether tangible or intangible, that revealed a level of skill or thoughtfulness they had not previously fully registered. Whatever the specific moment, I am sensing it functioned as a kind of threshold, the point where their interest stopped being something they could easily categorize as simple appreciation and became something considerably more significant. I want to expand on this threshold moment further because I think the texture of it deserves more attention. I am sensing this moment surprised this person, perhaps even somewhat unsettled them, because it revealed a depth in you that exceeded whatever assumptions or expectations they had previously held. There is a particular kind of internal recalibration that happens when someone realizes the person they have been casually interested in is actually significantly more capable, more complex, more genuinely impressive than their initial, more surface level interest had accounted for. I also want to address what happened immediately after this threshold moment because I am sensing it produced a shift in how this person began paying attention to you going forward. Where their observation may have previously been somewhat passive, simply noticing you in the ordinary flow of interaction, I am sensing it became considerably more active and intentional after this moment, actively seeking out opportunities to witness more of what you are capable of, genuinely curious to understand the fuller scope of who you actually are. Does this feel like it is connecting to something real in your own life right now, Virgo? Has there been someone whose attention toward you seems to have shifted, particularly around moments when your skills or your particular gifts became visible to them? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear how this is resonating with your own experience. I want to address the want bad piece of this title directly because I think it deserves honest, careful unpacking rather than being treated only as a casual phrase. What this person feels is not a fleeting wish or a passing fantasy. I am sensing genuine, persistent desire, the kind that occupies real space in someone's daily thoughts, that surfaces unexpectedly during ordinary moments of their day, that has created a kind of restlessness in them that they have not fully known how to manage or resolve. This person thinks about you with a frequency and an intensity that has likely surprised even them, given how this connection may have started from something they initially considered manageable or casual. I am also sensing this desire is not separate from your gifts, but is, in fact, deeply intertwined with them. This is significant because it means what this person wants is not simply a surface level version of you, but the full, complete person whose mind and whose skill and whose particular way of moving through the world initially captured their attention. They want access to all of it, not just the parts that are easiest or most convenient to engage with. I want to expand on this distinction further because I think it deserves real, careful examination. There is a meaningful difference between wanting someone for what they can provide or offer and wanting someone because of genuine fascination with who they actually are as a complete, complex person. I am sensing this person's desire falls clearly into the second category. They are not interested in a simplified, more manageable version of you. They want the actual depth, the genuine complexity, the full range of your capabilities and your character, even the parts that might require more from them in terms of meeting you at your actual level rather than a more comfortable surface level approximation. I also want to address something about the specific quality of restlessness this person has been experiencing because I think it adds important texture here. I am sensing moments where they have caught themselves thinking about you during activities that should have fully occupied their attention, work tasks interrupted by thoughts of you, conversations with other people where some part of their mind remained partially elsewhere, focused on you and what they feel. This kind of persistent mental presence indicates feeling that has moved well beyond something they can easily compartmentalize or set aside. I want to speak to how deep this actually goes because the title promises understatement, and I want to honor that with real specificity. I am sensing this person has begun reorganizing aspects of their own life in small but meaningful ways around the possibility of being closer to you. This might look like making themselves more available in contexts where they know you might be present, or it might look like internal shifts in how they prioritize their time and attention, quietly making more space for whatever role you might eventually occupy in their life. This kind of reorganization, even when subtle, indicates feeling that has moved well beyond casual interest into something they are genuinely structuring parts of their life around. Inhale with me for a moment, Virgo. I want to address something important about why this person has not yet fully expressed the depth of what they feel, because I think understanding their hesitation matters. I am sensing they are somewhat overwhelmed by their own feelings, uncertain about how to communicate something this significant without it coming across as too intense too quickly. There is a real fear of overwhelming you, of expressing the full depth of what they feel and having that depth feel like pressure rather than genuine appreciation. This caution, while it has kept them from being fully direct so far, actually reflects real consideration for your experience rather than simple hesitation rooted only in their own insecurity. I want to describe what specific behaviors you might already be noticing from this person because I think recognizing these signals matters as this continues to unfold. You may have noticed them asking more questions about your work or your interests than casual conversation typically requires, genuinely curious about the depth of what you do rather than simply making polite small talk. You may have noticed them remembering small details about projects or skills you mentioned only briefly, bringing them up again later in a way that shows they were genuinely listening and retaining rather than simply being present in the conversation without full engagement. I am also sensing you may have noticed a quality of nervousness in them, specifically around moments when your gifts become visible, a kind of heightened attention or slight awkwardness that exceeds what their behavior typically looks like in other contexts. This nervousness, while perhaps subtle, is one of the clearest signals of the depth of what they feel, because genuine, significant feeling often produces exactly this kind of self-consciousness in people who are not accustomed to caring this much about how they come across to someone else. I want to expand on these signals further because I think specificity helps you recognize them more clearly in your actual interactions. Watch for them finding reasons to be present when they know your gifts will be on display, whether that means showing up to events, asking to see your work, or simply positioning themselves to witness you doing what you do well. Watch also for them speaking about you to other people in ways that go beyond what casual acquaintance would typically warrant, mentioning your accomplishments or your skills with a kind of pride that suggests genuine investment rather than passing mention. I also want to address something about how this person's attention toward your gifts might differ from how they engage with other topics or other people in conversation. I am sensing a particular quality of focus that emerges specifically when your capabilities become the subject of conversation, an intensity of listening, a willingness to ask follow-up questions, a genuine desire to understand the full scope of what you are capable of that exceeds the more casual engagement they likely bring to most other conversations in their daily life. I want to speak to what is building toward expression here because Spirit is showing me genuine movement rather than indefinite, comfortable silence on this person's part. I am sensing the intensity of what they feel is reaching a point where continuing to manage it quietly is becoming increasingly difficult. The accumulated weight of admiring you from a more contained, careful distance is beginning to feel less sustainable than it once did, particularly as opportunities to witness your gifts in action continue presenting themselves and continue deepening what they already feel. I want to address what genuine expression of this depth might actually look like when it finally happens, because I think the practical shape of it matters. For some of you, this is going to come through direct, vulnerable communication, where this person finally articulates not just casual interest, but the genuine significance of what they feel, including specific references to the gifts and qualities that initially captured their attention. I am sensing this conversation, when it happens, is going to carry a level of detail and specificity that confirms this is not generic interest, but something built on genuine, sustained observation of who you actually are. For others, this might unfold through increasingly direct actions, invitations, or gestures that communicate seriousness of intention even before words fully catch up to express the depth of what is being offered. I want you to pay attention to the specificity of these gestures, watching whether they reflect genuine knowledge of your actual interests and gifts rather than generic, one-size-fits-all romantic gestures that could apply to anyone. I want to speak to something important about how you receive this, regardless of when or how it eventually becomes fully expressed. You are allowed to feel genuinely flattered by this depth of admiration without feeling obligated to immediately reciprocate at the same intensity. Your own feelings, your own pace, your own clarity about what you want from this connection deserve full consideration alongside everything this person is bringing. Genuine attraction to your gifts and your depth is meaningful and worth honoring, but it does not automatically obligate you to a particular response or timeline. I want to expand on this further because I think it deserves more attention than a brief acknowledgement provides. There can be a particular kind of pressure that arises when someone learns the depth of another person's feelings toward them, a sense that the intensity of that feeling somehow obligates an equally intense response in return. I want you to release any version of this pressure that may be present for you. You are allowed to feel moved by this admiration, genuinely appreciative of being seen so fully, while still taking whatever time you genuinely need to understand and clarify your own feelings before deciding how you want to respond. I also want to address something specific for those of you who already sense genuine reciprocal interest as you receive this reading. If this describes your situation, I want you to consider that your own gifts deserve to be received with the same depth of genuine appreciation you are being offered. As this connection potentially develops, pay attention to whether this person continues demonstrating the same quality of genuine curiosity and respect for your capabilities, or whether the initial intensity of admiration begins to fade once the novelty of getting to know you settles into something more ordinary and familiar. Let me speak to what makes this kind of attraction, rooted in your actual gifts and capabilities, rather than surface qualities alone, particularly significant and worth taking seriously. Attraction based primarily on appearance or surface charm tends to be more fragile, more easily disrupted by ordinary life circumstances, or by simply spending enough time together that initial impressions fade into something more complicated. Attraction rooted in genuine appreciation for your skills, your mind, your particular way of creating and solving and engaging with the world tends to be considerably more durable because it is responding to something that does not fade with familiarity, but rather tends to deepen as it becomes more fully known and understood over time. I want to expand on this principle further because I think it deserves real, thorough examination, given how significant it is to understanding the quality of what is being offered to you. Surface attraction often diminishes through the simple, ordinary process of familiarity, the way novelty itself tends to wear off over sustained time spent together. Attraction rooted in genuine respect for capability and character does not operate the same way, because your gifts do not diminish through familiarity. If anything, sustained proximity to genuine talent and depth tends to reveal even more layers of it over time, continually giving this person new reasons to maintain and deepen their admiration rather than watching it gradually fade as initial impressions wear thin. I also want to address what this means practically for the potential longevity of this connection, should it continue developing. A relationship built on this foundation has the structural integrity to weather the ordinary challenges that all relationships eventually face, because the underlying admiration is not contingent on circumstances remaining perfectly favorable or on you maintaining some idealized, unrealistic version of yourself. This person is responding to your actual demonstrated capabilities, which means even during more difficult periods, the fundamental respect and admiration this connection is built upon has a genuine, lasting foundation to draw from. As I bring this reading toward its close, I want to leave you with the complete picture Spirit shared today. Someone has been genuinely captivated by your actual gifts, your mind, your capacity to create and solve and engage with depth that most people simply do not carry, and what they feel as a result has grown into something considerably more significant than casual interest. This person is approaching a point where managing this feeling quietly is becoming less sustainable, and genuine, specific expression is likely coming soon. Receive whatever unfolds with full awareness of your own feelings and your own pace, trusting that attraction rooted in genuine appreciation for who you actually are carries a depth and a durability worth taking seriously. If this reading resonated with you today, please share it with a Virgo whose gifts deserve to be genuinely seen and appreciated by someone significant in their life. And let me know in the comments who came to mind as you listen to this. I read every comment, and I carry your stories with genuine care long after this video ends. Until next time, Virgo, your gifts were never meant to go unnoticed. And someone has been paying closer attention than you ever realized.